Hello friends and welcome to another video. I have another question here and I wanted to answer in the form of a video. Hope you don't mind. Hi Daniel, I noticed your track pricing is lower these days, at least on Audio Jungle. Curious what your reasoning is. Thanks. You're right. My tracks are lower not only on Audio Jungle but in various libraries. Over the years, I've been experimenting with pricing and not really experimenting, but adapting. Back in the day, Audio Jungle did not allow us to price our music. The music had only one price, and I believe back in the day it was $17. I don't remember now. $17, I think it was, or 18, something like that. And then they introduced the self-pricing thing on Audio Jungle, and then everything went to shit, really. People just started to devaluate the music, like you say. This is the only time where I will probably talk about this, but people would just put in prices lower and lower and lower, and then it was just very hard to keep up with that, right? It's like the race to the bottom. I think that had to do a lot with the way the market was going, and subscription maybe as well play a big role in that. I don't know. On the positive side, there are some old tracks that they've been, stuck there in my account that haven't really sold anything, haven't had any sales. So what I've done is that I have really brought the price down. I have shared many of these tracks here on the channel. A track that I uploaded, even my first track that I uploaded on Audio Jungle, it didn't have any sale, or it had probably one sale over the years. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna go back to that track and put it really low, and just so it can move, right? It's a product, it's an old product. It's not something that I'm happy about, that music track or anything, but I wanted to sell. Yeah, I want to make some money even with that old track. You have to start thinking like that. It's like having a shop and you have some items that they're not moving, they're not going anywhere. And if you have work in a shop like me, for example, I used to work in a guitar shop in central London in Denmark Street, Tin Pan Alley. I know a thing or two about retail in terms of doing the counter differently or arranging, certain parts of the shop so you can promote different products, right? Or the window. I used to do the window in the guitar shop all the time and just promote stuff and put items in different places, like a guitar here, this pedal there, and whatnot. So you have to start thinking like that with your music. So, the price change or the price wars is not new in stock libraries. So I try to adapt accordingly. Now, instead of having my prices to $20, most of my tracks now are either $10 or $12, which is, yes, it's low, even for my standards. On Pond 5 is the same thing. On Pond 5, I used to price my tracks $47. And I've done videos about this. Back in the day, I will do this type of videos. And I will get a big chunk just out of one sale if it was a normal license, but nowadays I just change them. I experimented by pricing them really low, like $5, and then I went back to $20 and whatnot. So I always experiment with pricing, but the market has changed. You can't expect to sell now and price your tracks, at least in my experience. I don't know about the other composers, how they're doing in that department, but for me, I try to stay competitive, and I use that word very, very carefully because I don't believe in competition, really. I believe in creation. I know it might sound like a naive concept to you, but I know that Audio Jungle as well has something on the front page that says something like tracks under $10 or under $12 or under $20 or something like that. So I think they promote new tracks like that as well. So when I saw that, and I saw that quite recently, by the way, I was like, that's funny. So they're promoting like the latest tracks and then as well like tracks under 20 or something like that. I'll have to double check. And I said, well, maybe I want my tracks to appear like that as well. Like they're new. Not only they're new, but they're under a certain amount of money. And if I have them over that price, then it's not going to appear on the front page. So that's something that I'm experimenting with it. But a reasonable price for a stock track, it could be anywhere between $10 and nowadays, $20, even $30, but you gotta be careful, it might sit there and people might not buy it, I mean, back in the day, I certainly will sell a lot of tracks at $47. I mean, in theory, a track that is a stock track for $50 is all right. But nowadays, libraries like Pond 5 and Audio Jungle and all of these libraries, it's hard to get away with that nowadays. You know, I mean, subscription libraries, I think, is the thing that is responsible for the drop in prices. Because the client says, you know, hey, I might as well just pay $15 or $9 or whatever it is to a subscription and then download as much music as possible instead of buying a track for 40 quid a pop, or, you know. But I think 10 or 20 or 10 or $12 is, for me, is a sweet spot nowadays, unfortunately. You know, that doesn't mean that I don't make money. Actually, I make more money with subscription libraries. And it's just like cents to the download. I mean, I don't know how the breakdown is exactly, but every library works differently. The more downloads you have, the more you earn per download, or your takings will increase. But it is a little bit annoying, and it's a little bit sad, really, to see how little we get. But then again, that's the truth of the online space. Wherever you go in the online world, everything is so little, you know. Get one stream is very little money. Get one download from selling your music is very little money. A certain play here on YouTube, and you get very little money for the ads. I don't do YouTube videos for the ads, for that matter. I mean, I see that as, you know, as pocket money to buy pizza, maybe for the kids or something like that. But everything is very little, you know. But does it stack up and make some money? For sure, it does. But it's just unfortunate that it has dropped over the years. But the same is with performing royalties, right? Like back in royalties. I mean, you might be able to get like an upfront sync fee or something, but then depending on what type of show as well and all of this, it plays a big role. When you see the breakdown, there's so little. Everything is so little, isn't it? And that's the unfortunate thing. I think with everything, it's like that, right? Everything. And it all comes down to volume, really. How much can we have out there in order to earn more? So it's always a matter of having more music and being proactive with that, with the composition, with what we want to do. And how can we bring more value to the marketplace? And adjust, really, like really adjust. We don't know where is it going to go. It's hard to think that you can, you know, make any money by selling so little, but there is a lot of sales that you need to have in order to compensate for that, isn't it? I mean, I even seen like big sellers on Audio Jungle sell the tracks really low, but they sell a lot, man. You know, like a lot. I'm talking about quite a lot of sales. And, you know, but for everybody it's different, okay? So you have to experiment. If you're new to this, you need to experiment. And if you're new to this, download my free guide. Don't forget to download my free guide. Link in the description. 7 steps to stock music licensing success. How you can start earning money selling your music on stock libraries. Even if it's such a low price, you can still make money. I mean, don't be fooled. And this applies to anything that we do online, by the way. Everything that I'm saying here, just because you get so little money with streaming platforms or even here on YouTube, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to make money, okay? You are, because it's just a matter of how many people are watching your videos, how many people are buying your music, how many people are playing your music on streaming platforms. So it's all about that. If you're an author and if you're writing books, it's the same thing. You know, you get very little royalties by selling books. By the way, while I'm at it, shameless plug, buy my book, right? It's very little royalties, but it's all about the volume. Get the information of buying my book underneath this video. This applies anywhere. Whatever you do, it's just so little, you know. And but you know, we can't do anything about certain things. That's the marketplace. That's the way it's been set up, the system. And it's our job to just become a creator. It's our job to just put as much as possible and do the best we can. But you can certainly make it. And always adapt. Experiment with different prices. I mean, at one point, I charged a track on Pond 5 for like $100. Was it $100 or $200? I don't remember. I have to go back and look at it. And I sold 1 or 2 at that price. That doesn't happen very often. I've seen other people on Pond 5 do that. Okay, and I did that a couple of years ago. I said like, okay, my best selling track at the time I see if I can price it very, very high and see what happens. I might do that now actually as an experiment, you know, $200 or something like that for one track on Pond 5. I'll experiment with that. Maybe that would be a good content here on the channel, to experiment with that and document that. But I've done that already in the past. Okay, so I've sold tracks very, very low, and I have sold tracks as well very, very high. But it doesn't happen very often, you know, so you gotta be careful with that and see how it goes for you. Anyways, thank you so much for the love and support, my friend. Thank you for all the comments and everything. Drop a comment below or a question so I can answer to your questions, and maybe we can do a video and talk about it. Thank you so much, my friend. I'll see you in another video.